Good morning, welcome back to TERRA at Home. I'm here with Pete Sinuita, and you are the superintendent of the greens here at Copetown Woods Golf Course.
That's right.
That's quite an undertaking, isn't it?
Yeah, everything outside pretty well is my responsibility.
I can just imagine.
Yep.
So let's first off, we'll talk about coming out of this winter season that we had, and a lot of people were hearing, I mean, obviously now we're at the end of August and moving in hopefully to a great fall, but you know, there was a lot of talk about the damage that was done by, and you were saying it was particularly done by the ice storm itself that affected the greens here in southern Ontario.
That's right. It all stemmed from the ice storm we had at Christmas. So pretty well, the entire golf course was encased in 6 inches of ice.
Wow.
And ultimately what happened is the grass began to suffocate. So what people don't realize is that the ground still needs to breathe throughout the winter. And there's air exchange and gas exchange. So what happened is that ice literally sealed everything off. We had gas build up underneath, depleted all the oxygen, and the grass ultimately ended up dying.
It just died underneath. So when that happened, were you thinking to yourself, oh, this isn't good already at that point?
Yeah, pretty well when the ice storm started, the clock started ticking. So we're a newer golf course, so we have bent grass. So we have about 90 days that we know that we can survive under the ice. The older golf courses are more annual bluegrass, and they're only about 30 days.
Which is why we're seeing some severe damage with the older courses.
That's right. Some courses literally lost every single green, had to either resod them or reseed them.
And that is a lot of money, isn't it?
It's a lot of money, and it's a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of resources, and you know, our heart goes out to those guys that completely lost all their greens. We're fortunate that our damage was literally minimal. Like we were fine. We came out of the spring.
So what did you have to do maybe that was different this year when you were coming into the spring here? And obviously we didn't have the ideal spring for it, but what was it that you had to do that was, again, minimal?
Well, it started with the ice still, when the ice was still on the ground. We actually ended up going out there and breaking up some of the ice to encourage a melt. We took out big aerators and we're trying to break the ice to get that air coming out. Because when we went out there, and we first started taking samples, the grass smelled, it was rotting.
You could tell.
It was dying. So we went out there and did anything we could do to break up the ice and get it off there and let the ground breathe.
Amazing. And when you think about how big a golf course is and how much area it covers, we're not talking about a small space where you could say, okay, if we're just right here, we know we can take care of this, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of area. Yeah.
We have 4.5 acres of greens here that we're worried about. It's a lot of ice.
Yes, it is.
And when it's 6 inches thick, we had skid steers right on the greens, driving and pushing ice off.
Okay, so once you were able to do that, then what else did you do for prep to get ready for the season?
The biggest thing is to stay off till the grass is ready. So
that's hard, right? Because your clients want to get on.
Yeah, clients want to get out. We have an ownership that understands that when the course is ready, it's ready, and you go on it. When the grass comes out of spring, it's weak. You know, after a winter like that especially, it's struggling. So you need to give it some time to recover, get a root system, start developing. Just like your homeowner's lawn, like the people that are out there first thing when there's snow still on the ground trying to rake their grass, just give it a break, give it a couple weeks, let it dry up a little bit.
Yes.
You know, some of that grass is still alive, but you're out there raking it aggressively and you're pulling out grass that potentially could still be alive.
That's a good point, you know, because really, you know, as much as this is really special grass and specific, it's very dense and, you know, the consistency is different from our own lawns. All of us want to have lawns like this, right? So, you know better than anybody on the tips that people could, you know, just those little things, because some people are very hard on their lawn. They forget that, yes, it is sensitive. It is a plant. It's trying to grow. Yeah,
that's right. You need to, my philosophy is you need to keep it simple. It's grass. Don't overcomplicate it. So we talk about the simplest thing is watering properly.
Yes.
So your average home lawn needs 1 inch of water a week. If you don't know what that is, when you turn your sprinkler on, put a little cup out there and let it run till it hits an inch. Then shut it off. Leave it for a week. If it rains, don't water it. You'd be surprised when I drive to work, the number of home lawns that are watering every single night or every other night. It's too much. You need water it, let it dry down, gives the roots a reason to go down and dig deep. So when we do have these drought conditions, your grass will survive.
Actually, that's a really good tip. You're right, a lot of people really do overwater their lawns. And I know that we do have, you know, we get, particularly in the month of August, we get some really hot conditions, right? So in our summer and even into the fall, but really you don't need to be doing that kind of thing.
No.
You would know, right? And
just take it easy.
So when it comes to a big green, you know, how do you have a certain run with your sprinkler system and how it works? Is it on a pattern?
We have a full irrigation system that'll water everything, but we only water we'll go out here and we'll take physical samples of the soil and we'll feel it in our hand. If it's moist, we won't leave it. We'll touch it. We won't touch it at all. We'll just let it dry down.
Okay.
When it gets nice and dry for us, every green's a little bit different. Anywhere from about an hour to an hour and 40 minutes is how long we'll run those sprinklers for to completely saturate it.
I see.
And then we'll just let it alone and leave it.
Wow. And you know, and that's the thing, I'm sure you're tested all the time though with different weather patterns and things that are going on.
Oh yeah, Mother Nature just beats on us. You know, if we get a week of, you know, it's 30 degrees and on the humidex we're reading 40, you know, the grass is hurting. So we'll ease off on it. You know, we won't fertilize when it's really hot.
Right, because it can scorch it, right?
Absolutely. People fertilizing and just leaving it on their
all the
grass.
time too, don't
And you're
they?
wondering why it's burning, right?
Exactly.
No. Best tip when you're going to fertilize, time it with a rainfall. You know, it's going to rain the next day, go out, fertilize your grass, you know it's going to get watered in, you're going to reduce the chance of burning.
That is actually the best thing. That's always the nicest thing, especially if you've just planted or anything in people's gardens. They love when you get that rainfall the next
Nothing's
day.
better
right?
than rainfall.
Now, okay, we need to talk about these goats that you have, because the average person doesn't have goats floating around in their yard, but you have goats that actually, you know, are functional and have a job.
Yeah, we have 2 working goats here. They're named Brock and Lee. So
Very nice.
they're 2 male goats, and the idea stemmed from another golf course actually, but the idea originates with the first golf courses over in Scotland. They were groomed by grazing animals, and that's how you had a smooth, consistent playing surface.
That's the only way they would have been able to do it, you know, centuries ago,
That's
right?
They're graded. So as observation happened, they were eating weeds first. Like the leafy, juicy texture of weeds and the flowers, they'd eat that first. And then if that was all gone, then they'd move on to the grass.
How cool.
So,
and so they do it consistently? They're pretty good.
They're pretty good. They eat a lot of weeds.
I think that's hilarious.
So we'll move them around.
That helps you.
Oh, it's fantastic. You know, it's one of our green initiatives here. We take a lot of pride in.
Yes, you
all
guys
the
are
green
really good
things
at that.
we do
We've
here.
heard that a lot about Copetown Woods, that you guys are really very much about green everything from waste disposal, you know, all the way through, and taking care of greens too, and being just environmentally friendly and aware.
A lot of organic fertilizers we use here. A lot of fish emulsion, liquid carbon, molasses, put that down. We don't use much synthetic anything here.
That's so great. And of course, as you say, you just take these goats around, drop them in an area and let them go to it.
Yeah, and once, you know, they clear all the weeds out, we'll move them along to another area and just keep jumping around the golf course.
That's so funny. And I understand that they become quite friendly with people here at the course, you know, your clients, and they come up for a little visit and chat away.
Yeah, they're very friendly. They won't hurt you, but they'll hop right up in your golf cart and say hi and see what you're eating for lunch. And
I love it. I love it. Okay, any last minute tip for people going into the fall for their lawns, something you should or shouldn't do?
If you're going to fertilize, do it now and then leave it. You don't want a thick, lush lawn going into winter. You want it to harden off a bit and get ready for the winter.
Very good. Nice talking to you.
You
Good luck
too.
with the greens, and hopefully you have a better winter this winter.
Looking forward to it.
So you have a better spring of 2015. That's it for now. We'll have more TERRA at home. When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of TERRA. Make your dreams come true at TERRA, where color lives.
Heritage Perennials. Look for us in the blue pots.
Good morning, welcome to TERRA at Home. I'm here with Mindy from Aftica Decor, and we're at the Ancaster location, and you have 2 other locations as well.
We do, yes, at Garth and Mohawk in Hamilton on the West Mountain, and on Queenston Road near Centennial Parkway.
Oh, wow, you've got it covered, right?
Yep,
All
east
across.
to west, right?
So
Yep.
you're obviously part of the family
Yes.
operation, and you went to school and studied interior design.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so tell me about the store, because obviously you just were born right into this.
Exactly, I was. So growing up right into it, my parents had bought this store when I was 4 years old, and I've kind of grown up with it. Our first location was at the Garth and Mohawk store, and we've added over the years, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, so there you are. And so tell me a little bit about what you offer at the store. Obviously, we're going to be talking a lot about paint specifically today, but you do flooring and...
Yeah, we do flooring, we do hardwood carpet, laminate, tile, backsplash, area rugs, custom area rugs, Hunter Douglas blinds.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So basically someone can come into you and really just say, hey,
exactly.
I'm going to take your time for a really long time, and we're going to maybe just take either a room, and whether it's a kitchen or a bathroom or whatever it may be, and you're going to help me reconfigure this.
Exactly. We have a lot of people that come in and they ask us, you know, I want to redecorate my living room and dining room, and you know, I need professional advice. You tell me what to do, and they listen to us, and we do everything top to bottom. So flooring, paint, window coverings if they need it, reupholstering.
So you could really like literally do a whole room over.
Exactly.
And it's amazing that some people kind of know what they are looking for versus, you know, from looking online or on magazines, but I imagine it's also fun for you sometimes when they just say, I don't even know, how about
exactly, kind of give us free range, right?
Exactly. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more about painting today specifically, interior and exterior, and as we move towards fall, as much as a lot of times we don't want to talk about that happening, even though fall's lovely, like to hang on to our summer as long as we can. We're going to talk about exterior first, and obviously we know painting is such a quick and easy way to change your space, inside or outside. And when we're looking outside moving into the fall, what are we seeing in terms of any type of color trends right now for this year?
We're seeing a lot of cooler tones again, so more blues and grays and charcoals and whatnot outside. So we, you know, a couple years ago we were kind of in that brown phase and the warm, you know, darker browny blacks almost. Now we're going cooler again. So all the cool blue tones. You know, charcoals are very popular for front doors right now.
I like that. That's nice. That's the thing. So, you know, it's been quite some time. You'll see where people will paint the front door different from the garage door. Does that have to be that way? Is that the way it's supposed to be right now, or what do you see?
Typically, you want your front door to be the focal point of your home. So when you have your guests walk up to your house, they know that's where to go into the house, right? Garage doors, kind of big and obtrusive. You want them to blend in with the exterior. Exactly.
That makes sense. Kind of, I guess, when you walk into a room and you see this beautiful fireplace, that's sort of the focal point of the room too, right?
Same idea.
Okay. All right. So when we're talking about painting outside and maybe some of the techniques behind it, if people are trying to, there are so many great advancements with paint nowadays where you have primers included and things like that. Do you like that? Do you think that works?
It does. It's advantageous for the most part. There are some applications where I want to say people kind of push the limits on what the paint is capable of doing.
Yes, and I can imagine exterior, especially when we're dealing with some like last winter and you're doing extreme conditions, you want to make sure you're doing it right. Because you don't have to do it again the following year.
So prep work is key. Any customers that come into the store, if they want to chat with us about, you know, I have this problem, the paint is peeling off the wood or whatever their problem may be, we can go through steps with them and guide them and get them the right prep products as well as the right primer if they need the primer, and then the paint, of course.
Because we know, I mean, it can be a bit of a tedious job, especially if you're painting a giant garage door, like a double garage door, and you've gone through, you don't want to miss a step and having to do it too soon after.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So how long, especially in our areas here in Southern Ontario, if you painted a garage door, should it last?
I would say, depending on the exposure of the door too, that has a big, right? Somebody that faces south are not going to get as long out of the paint as somebody that's, you know, facing north, so it doesn't get sun on it. I would say anywhere from 5 to 10 years is probably your average, right? Sometimes it can go longer.
And sometimes not too bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
That's totally doable. Temperature-wise, as we're moving into fall, how warm, how cool can you get?
So what we want here is above 4 degrees Celsius, day and night. So nighttime temperatures are key. So it might still be warm during the day, but at night it's getting a little bit cooler, and that's what we have to worry about is the nighttime temperature.
Because it's still in its drying stage, so you don't want to be exposing it. Okay, so best to be kind of getting on it soon, more in September, when it's still relatively warm weather out, because October we know we can get into frost.
Exactly. Dew we have to worry about. That's the other thing. So moisture, right? You don't want, you know, if you've just stained your deck and now it's, you know, you get dew on it overnight, all that moisture is seeping in. The deck stain.
It's going to affect the integrity
of it.
Okay. All right. So moving from the outside to the inside, do you have to have those colors flowing? Is it necessary? Is it, from a designer's perspective, do you like that?
I would say aesthetically, when you walk into the home, it should all coordinate. It doesn't have to match exactly, because we know now with the styles and trends, everything is not matchy-matchy.
Right.
But you would want it to coordinate, right? So I wouldn't say you'd want a red front door and then orange as soon as you walk in,
yeah,
right?
It's a little bit shocking.
Yeah.
Yes, but you're seeing that. So in terms of getting into inside color schemes, are they're going still towards cool tones as well?
Cooler tones, but grays specifically are very hot right now. Benjamin Moore has one color called Revere Pewter. We sell that color day in, day out. It is so popular, yeah. It's a warm gray, so it's still gray. It has that cool tone, but it's warmer than most grays are, right? Yeah. So very popular, yeah.
Well, it's funny because when the grays started to come through, that trend started to come forward, a lot of people went crazy and painted their house gray, but it felt very sort of stagnant and cold, right? And so then I guess finally achieving and finding that warmer gray tone is what people needed. But at first everyone was saying, oh my gosh, my house feels very, especially when they're coming from all those warm neutrals, right?
Exactly.
So it kind of is still going that direction. Now, feature walls, are we seeing wallpaper? Yeah,
we're seeing feature walls. It has to be the right wall. So for a while, I think everybody was overdoing feature walls.
Yes.
And now, as long as you have kind of that perfect wall, so whether it be a fireplace wall or, a wall in your dining room, that's where we're seeing people use, a pop of color or a darker color, whatever, they're looking for, right? Wallpaper is very popular right now. Powder rooms, dining rooms, kind of behind the bed in the master bedroom.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I'm looking at one wall of wallpaper.
Exactly.
And it's kind of neat. We're getting back to some of the really cool old styles, like old Victorian things. And I love that. Some of those beautiful motifs and designs.
Yeah.
So that's still happening. And what's great about that is that you don't have to wallpaper your entire room.
Exactly.
It's a little bit tedious.
Yeah.
Right?
And a cost thing too, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is a cost thing.
Yeah.
And and also I think for when you're looking at resale, obviously people know that they can come in and repaint. But repainting is painting your house before you put it on the market is a great thing to freshen it up for people. And if it's not covered entirely head to toe in wallpaper, you're going to have a better chance.
Exactly. They're not going to get, turned off by,
All right, so if people want your help, they can just come into the store and ask for you?
Absolutely. They can come in, ask for me, or ask for any of my, my parents as well. All our staff are all trained and qualified as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Nice talking to you today. I could talk to you forever.
Thank you.
People do. Thanks, Mindy. You're
Thanks.
great. More TERRA at home after this. When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of TERRA. Make your dreams come true at TERRA, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
The Hamilton Spectator, at work, at home, or on the go. Read us online, in print, or download us to your e-reader. Get the Hamilton Spectator any way you want it.
Good morning. Welcome back to TERRA at Home. We are in our kitchen here at our TERRA store, and we're with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegra restaurant in Hamilton. And we're doing something interesting today.
Yeah, this is a little bit different. You know, a lot of times salads are served cold.
Yes.
This one's a little bit different. This one's served warm.
Right.
So we're going to grill it. We're going to take a romaine heart, we're going to cut it in half, we're going to get it oiled, salt and peppered, and then we're going to grill it.
Okay.
You can do it the way I'm doing it here on a grill pan on top of the stove if you don't have access to a barbecue, or you can do it on a barbecue. Now, if you do it on a barbecue, you just got to be careful because the heat is more direct than what this is here.
Right.
So this is radiating heat, so it'll cook it a little bit slowly. On the barbecue, you're going to want to keep it off the direct heat or else it'll burn the leaves too quickly for you.
Okay, so that's one thing we're associated when we think about a warm salad. It's usually something to do with the toppings on top of the greens, right? Where we're actually going
to actually grill the actual romaine.
The romaine.
Yeah, this is something I used to do in the restaurant quite a bit, and it went over really, really well.
Yes.
People liked it, you know. You can do this, I mean, we're not doing it as a Caesar style,
Right.
but you can do this as a Caesar salad as
Sure.
well, and just served warm.
So what are you getting from it when you are grilling it? That's different. Okay, so obviously you're warming it up a little bit, but are you getting a lot of flavor from that grill?
It changes the flavor of the leaves themselves a little bit. It does change the flavor.
Okay.
It gives it a bit of it gives a little more of a rustic flavor to it, for sure. And of course, you get the heat, the warmth, and all that, and it does wilt it down. So you're not going to get that crispy water that you would get especially out of a romaine heart.
Right.
So what we've got, I just took the bottom off of the romaine, okay, trimmed the stem, and we're going to use half of it. So when you cut it open, you have the romaine heart. You want to leave that stem in, so that'll help it hold together. If you take
Right.
it apart, you're gonna.
So that's
it's
the thing.
too
You're
much
not
to work.
dealing with individual leaves
That's
here. You're
right.
dealing with you have a good foundation of leaves that are stacked.
That's right.
Because I kind of don't think that would work out as well, right?
No.
Just doing individual.
I mean, you could do it, but
Yeah.
you're looking at a lot more work.
Right.
A lot more work.
Right.
So I'm just brushing it with some canola oil, vegetable oil, whatever you want. Again, I'm not using olive oil on this one,
Okay.
just because I don't want that olive flavor. Okay.
Right.
So
It's
you use your
amazing how much
grill
olive
brush.
oil can take on flavor. Some
It does.
Some of it's really fragrant, right?
Especially the good stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
especially the good
it's-
stuff.
The good
It's-
stuff has got some strong flavors to it. Then we're going to take a little bit of salt
Okay.
and salt both sides of it, and same thing with the pepper.
Okay. So obviously, ideally, this is really the best greens that you could use. The best
Yeah,
lettuce.
you can do it with Belgian endive, but the Belgian endive is
Sure.
a little bit more bitter.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
I've never tried it with iceberg lettuce, but it would probably work the
Yep.
same.
Okay. Just
Okay.
again because of the density and
The
the
density,
leaves,
that's right.
Okay.
And then we're putting that right onto the grill.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're not going to get, if you had it on a barbecue, you would hear a lot more sizzle, you get a lot more flame coming up.
Right.
This one here, it's just slowly wilting that down, and that's
Okay.
exactly what you're looking for. You don't want it to burn. You're not looking for burnt lettuce here, you just
No.
want it, you can see it's starting to wilt down over here.
Yes.
That's what we're looking to get out of this.
Okay. All right. So obviously some of the water content's coming out.
That's right.
And but as you said on the grill, what temperature would you be using on the grill?
I would heat it up to about 425, 450, and then I would put the romaine heart onto the cooler side, and
Okay.
then leave it on high on the other side.
All right. I see. Okay.
So we have some fresh rosemary here,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to use this as part of our dressing. So we're going to sprinkle this on. I'm going to chop it nice and fine while that's grilling. In a minute, I'm going to flip it over, and you can see how nice the pan is working on that romaine heart.
Well, it's nice because then this is something that you can do when using a cast iron pan like that. You can do it all year
Yeah,
round.
you could use it all year round,
Yeah.
exactly. So you can see it's getting some grill marks on there, and it's
Yeah.
starting to wilt down.
That's good.
I'm going to brush this side with oil again,
Okay.
and we're going to do that a couple more times. We're just going to keep flipping it back and forth, back
So
and forth
interesting
on all
when
sides.
when I've had a grilled romaine before, I always just thought it would have been a quick like psh, psh, off, but it's not at all. It's,
No, it does take some time.
Yeah.
It does
I
take
don't know
a
why.
few
I
minutes.
just thought it would just like
Yeah, no, it
Be
does.
very, very
Because
quick.
what you're looking at, you have a dry pan here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's transferring of heat. So the only surface that really is touching it is a little bit here and there
Yes.
on the lettuce. You're not getting the full sides.
Mm-hmm.
You can see where it's just touching a few sides there. So it does take its time to
Mm-hmm.
cook. So it does take a few minutes.
Yep.
But once you do get this nice flavor, and then you add the rosemary that we've just chopped up, we're going to add some feta cheese, some crumbled feta on that. That's going to add a little bit more salt to it. And then we have this beautiful flower, begonia here. And lucky for me, I was able to walk around with the experts here at TERRA, and they were able to let me sample a few things. And this one here tastes like green apple. So
no
it's gonna
way.
go
I have that
excellent.
plant on my front porch.
It's fantastic. So it's going to work really, really well. So it's going to give you that more summery flavor,
Really?
just from the leaves that we're going to use.
Holy smokes! I had no idea. That's awesome. Because begonias are such sensitive little plants, and I'm always like, well, especially with a 5-year-old, they're always knocked off on the on my front porch. I'm like, I'm not buying a begonia until my son grows up. But it's exactly that one. So how beautiful is that? Who knew?
Like I said, it'll work really well with this romaine, because you do want to have that little bit of that summer. You still want it to feel like summer.
Right.
So that's where you're going to get that from. Otherwise, it is a warm salad. You have a feta cheese, which is a little bit of a bigger cheese.
Awesome. Now,
so-
again, as you said, I like the idea that you can go with the Caesar direction with this as
Yeah.
well. Really, I mean, once you have this as an option in your repertoire of making a salad, really you could do anything with it. It just, especially crumbling.
If you're going to do it as a Caesar, you wouldn't want to do that creamy Caesar. You want to do more of the vinaigrette style.
Okay.
Yeah. So you put your mustard and all that other stuff that you would do with your normal Caesar, but instead of making a mayonnaise or an aioli to start off with, you just want to keep that nice and light with a little bit of egg yolk.
Okay, good.
And then drizzle it right on top.
So it's not too heavy.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we're going to continue to let that grill, but how do you know exactly when that's ready?
Well, you're going to have to look for a color, and you can start seeing that it wants to fall apart because it is starting to wilt down, and just the size alone. I mean, if you look at the size between the two, how much water content's come out of that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you judge it basically on what your personal preference is.
Sure.
I'm going to take that off in probably another 30 seconds or so.
Okay.
And then we're going to split it down the middle, and then we're going to start working on plating it.
All right. Okay, so why don't we take it to break, and by the time we come back from break, we'll be good to go. We'll come out, plate it, show it's done, and again, talk about some of the options you can do with this. Great. We'll be right back. When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of TERRA. Make your dreams come true at TERRA, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Welcome back to TERRA at Home, back with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegra restaurant in Hamilton, and we're officially removing our romaine from the grill. So we've been grilling this up for a little period of time here.
Yeah, we did all sides, and you can see that it's just wilted down nicely, but in the middle you still have some nice crunchiness and firmness to that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this one.
Okay. I'm going to move this guy.
There we go. And now we'll put this right onto the plate.
So once you remove this from the grill, you want to get it like out of the kitchen and serve pretty
fairly
much
quickly.
right
Now
away,
you
right?
could chill it. If you were going to chill it, I wouldn't grill it as far as I've grilled this.
Right.
So, do a lighter grill and then you can chill it again. You'll still get that nice flavor out of it,
Sure,
that little bit of charness, but you're not going to, it won't wilt down as much. So you could do that as well. Now we're going to take this begonia here.
Begonia we were talking about that has that crisp green apple flavor.
And we're using it more of a garnish. You just want a little bit of that flavor.
You don't want to take the whole flower head and eat it.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Not so much.
But we're going to add a few of these leaves.
Just a reminder, you can find all of Chef Mark's recipes on our website at terragreenhouses.com. And the balsamic comes out.
The aged balsamic. We're going to drizzle that. And I mean, it looks beautiful with that begonia being all white, and then you have that nice dark.
Oh, yes, it's good.
And we have our feta cheese.
Crumbled feta. Beautiful. And where does the, so you just kind of sprinkle a little bit of the rosemary in there as well?
I sprinkled some rosemary on there,
Okay.
and that's going to give it that woodsy outdoors, add to that grill flavor.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. That's
If you want, you could put a couple cherry tomatoes with that, give it a little bit of red.
I can see that.
But, I mean, otherwise, it's a nice dish, very different way of doing a salad.
Why not? It's pretty straightforward. Why not try it at home this weekend? That's great. Thank you, Chef Mark. Always good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for TERRA at Home. Have yourself a great weekend.